Columbia State Historic Park. Today we will be comparing the park to how it was then versus how it is today. On March 27, 1850, Dr. Thaddeus Hildreth and his brother George, along with a couple of other prospectors, made camp here. In just 2 days, they hit the mother lode, which yielded more than $4,500 in gold. That's about $175,000 in gold today. News like this didn't take long to spread. The area was soon full of thousands of miners hoping to find their fortunes. Within no time, a tent and shack town called Hildreth Diggings was formed. The site was later called American Camp before it was changed permanently to Columbia. In 1854, a major fire destroyed 6 city blocks. At that time, Columbia had 8 hotels, 4 banks, 17 general stores, 2 firehouses, 3 churches, and over 40 saloons and gambling halls. The town was rebuilt, this time with fireproof buildings constructed of brick and iron. In 1854, the Columbia and Stanislaus River Water Company was formed. They built a new 60-mile aqueduct to supply water for the mines. The project was not completed until 1858. While the aqueduct was not a financial success for the company that built it, it did allow for more extensive mining to keep Columbia active until the 1860s. In 1859, Columbia was California's 3rd largest city. The mining operations of the 1860s began eating up some of the town itself. Miners dug under buildings and tore down houses to get to the gold beneath the city. The bricks from the destroyed buildings of Columbia were sold to a nearby town of Copperopolis for constructions and buildings there. Columbia started declining in the 1860s, and by the 1870s most of the miners have moved on to fresh ground. Remarkably, much of the town survived for decades until the 1940s, when the remaining buildings were stabilized and included in the newly formed Columbia State Historic Park. The Wells Fargo Express building was originally built out of wood, but the structure burned several times until the brick building was built in 1858. The first telegraph in Columbia was installed in the bank building back in 1855. This picture is looking north on Main Street from the cross sections of Main and Fulton. It was taken sometime in the 1880s. The Tibbet House, named after Layman C. Tibbet. The family lived here in Columbia from 1887 to 1932. The Jack Douglas Saloon was established in 1857 and is one of the oldest saloons in the West. Firehouse number 1 is home to the Papeete, a 2-cylinder hand-pumper fire engine with its leather hoses and buckets. Firehouse number 2 was formed in 1859, and in 1861 the town's 2nd hand-pumper fire engine was purchased. The Monumental came from the San Francisco Fire Company. Looking south down Main Street, the firehouse is on the left, and a photo of the Papeete in action on the right. The Wilson McConnell House was built in 1878. Miss McConnell was the last living resident and passed away at the age of 99 in 2003. In 2005, the state of California purchased the house from the estate. The interior and exterior of the house were used in the 1952 movie High Noon, starring Gary Cooper. The Brunetti dry goods store is on the right. The historic Pioneer Saloon is in the center, recently renamed to St. Charles Saloon. A tree is blocking the view of the old schoolhouse up on the hill. This is where we are headed next. The Columbia School, California's first two-story brick schoolhouse, stands alone on a gentle hill near the top of School Street, built in 1860 of locally made sun-dried bricks at a cost of $5,000. The school opened in November of that same year with 368 students, 2 teachers, and a principal. The first floor held the elementary classroom, the upstairs the older students. The school was in continuous use until 1937 when it closed for not meeting California's earthquake requirements. The building was totally restored in 1960 at the cost of $60,000. The Columbia Public Cemetery was founded in 1853 and is located behind the schoolhouse on Burial Hill. Many of the headstones date from the 1850s. There are many pioneers and miners who died hard and untimely here, along with the Masonic and the Oddfellow cemeteries. Armed with pickaxes, shovels, and powerful jets of water, miners removed massive amounts of dirt and gravel to expose the marble limestone formations you see here today. The Columbia Jail has held its share of Gold Country outlaws over the years. Built during the 1860s, this tiny solid building remained in use until the late 1930s. Inside are 2 cells and a small space where the jailer could keep an eye on the bad guys. The City Hotel is a beautiful 2-story brick building that was first known as the What Cheer House. Completed in October 1857, it contained 20 sleeping apartments, a large office, a bar, sitting rooms, and dining room. A spacious hall is on the second floor and was used for theatrical and concert performances. The Eagle Cottage was originally a miner's boarding house which could sleep up to 100 miners on a crowded night. A barbershop also operated here, providing the miners with a place to spruce up for a night out on the town. The Masonic Hall stands upon a lot which was originally a mining claim in 1851. In 1855, the two-story brick building was built. The lower floor housed the Columbia Flour and Feed Store, while the upper floor, reached by an outside stairway, was used as the meeting hall for the Masons. The Fallon Hotel is undoubtedly one of California's most impressive buildings remaining from the gold rush. The assay office is directly behind the Wells Fargo building and includes a replica of a circa 1860 furnace for heating, purifying, and pouring gold into molds.